if diabetes is not untreated, which can lead to serious and unpredictable complications. The disease also causes many direct effects on the health and performance of the patient. With the rate of people suffering from diabetes increasing, do not be subjective. This is one of the most common diseases today. People with diabetes should know what foods to eat to control diabetes. But they also need to know the top foods to avoid because it will cause a rapid rise in blood sugar after eating. People with diabetes have a problem with carb consumption. Carbs, protein and fat are the macronutrients that provide energy for the body. Of the three, carbs are by far believed to have the greatest effect on blood sugar. This is because they are broken down into sugar, or glucose, and absorbed into the bloodstream. If you don't eat enough carbohydrates at the right time, your blood sugar will drop and you won't have enough diabetes medications in your system to keep your glucose levels close to normal. If you eat too much carbohydrates at the wrong times, you may not have enough diabetes medication, even though you keep your insulin levels closer to normal. When people with diabetes consume too many carbs at once, their blood sugar can go dangerously high. Over time, consistently high blood sugar can damage the nerves and blood vessels in the body, which could set the stage for cardiovascular disease, kidney disease and other serious health conditions. Since each person reacts differently to carbohydrates, the best way to determine the optimal recommended carbohydrate intake is to count carbohydrates at each meal and test blood sugar levels before and after eating. While individualizing the optimal carbohydrate intake requires a little more work, it is a good way for you to adjust your diet to your body's metabolism to stay healthy and keep your diabetes under control. Foods to avoid when you have diabetes: foods, soda and high sugary drinks. This is because they are very high in carbs, with a single soda 354 milliliters serving providing 38 grams. The same amount of iced tea and lemon juice each contain 36 grams of carbs. In addition, the high fructose content in their composition has been linked to insulin resistance and an increased risk of obesity, fatty liver and other diseases. High fructose levels in sugary drinks can cause metabolic disturbances that increase belly fat, cholesterol levels and harmful triglycerides. To help control blood sugar and prevent the risk of disease, consume water, soda or unsweetened iced tea instead of sugary beverages. Diabetes is a condition in which the person's body has a blood sugar that exceeds the limit of the diabetes index. Cakes, candies, soft drinks, carbonated soft drinks, and all artificially sweetened foods or sweet flavors such as sugar cane, fruit too sweet, diabetics should also limit to the maximum. You need to list them into foods to avoid immediately to control blood sugar. Rice, white bread, pasta and high-starch foods. Although this is an indispensable food in every meal, but for patients with diabetes it is always recommended that not eat a lot of rice at each meal. Diabetics need to be on a very strict diet. Even foods such as rice, pho, vermicelli, also need to be limited. Instant foods like pho, instant porridge need to be absolutely taboo because they are not beneficial for health even for ordinary people. Use brown rice or other beneficial grains instead. Refined or simple carbohydrates include sugars and refined grains that have been stripped of all bran, fiber, and nutrients. These include white bread, pizza dough, pasta, pastries, white flour, white rice, sweet desserts and many breakfast cereals. The third, dried fruits. Dried fruit is rich in fiber, vitamins, minerals and antioxidants, yet high in sugar and carbohydrates. Therefore, many people with diabetes are afraid of eating dried fruit. Dried fruit is rich in carbohydrates. 1/4 cup of dried fruit contains about 15 grams of carbohydrates. Dried fruit contains more sugar than fresh fruit of the same type. Because it is dehydrated, the fruit's natural sugar is concentrated in a smaller volume. Example, 1 cup of grapes contains 27 grams of carbs, including 1 gram of fiber. In contrast, 1 cup of raisins contains 115 grams of carbs, 5 of which are fiber. Therefore, raisins contain 3 times more carbs than grapes. Other dried fruits are higher in carbs than fresh fruit. The fourth, foods contains a lot of saturated fat, trans, cholesterol. Fat provides the body with the highest source of energy for the body. Eating foods high in fat can make it harder for you to gain weight and control blood sugar. Therefore, diabetics should abstain from the saturated fats and cholesterol found in animal foods such as fatty meats, animal viscera, egg yolks, cheese, and dairy, foods of plant origin such as coconut milk, ice cream. You should also avoid foods containing trans fats such as deep-fried cooking oil many times, canned foods such as baked goods, sausages, frozen foods, cakes, fast foods such as ribs, instant noodles, chips. Although trans fats do not directly raise blood sugar, they have been linked to inflammation, insulin resistance and belly fat, as well as good, HDL cholesterol and impaired arterial function reduction. These effects are particularly relevant for people with diabetes, as they are at risk for heart disease. The fifth, fried potato. Fried potato is one of foods to avoid, especially if you have diabetes. Potatoes themselves are relatively high in carbs. A medium-sized potato contains 37 grams of carbs, 4 of which come from fiber. Potatoes contain more glycemic index, substances that increase faster and more blood sugar. In the long term, this increase can damage pancreatic cells that help produce the insulin hormone necessary for blood sugar metabolism. And when potatoes are peeled and fried in vegetable oil, they can have more than just increased blood sugar. Fried foods have been shown to produce high amounts of toxic compounds such as AGEs and aldehydes, which can promote inflammation and increase disease risk. The sixth, fruit juice. As I mentioned, in case diabetics want to eat fruit, they should not be processed into juice, but should eat the whole fruit. In the fruit contains a lot of fiber. If you eat the fruit as usual, the stomach will break down and move into the small intestine and the nutrients in the fruit will be absorbed gradually. Eating fruit in this way will be more effective. Because they have less fiber than whole fruit, which is one of the causes of blood sugar spikes, limit canned, dried fruits. Addition, fruit juices and vegetable juices are both liquid processed, so the absorption time is faster and can raise blood sugar faster than solid foods. The seventh, honey. Honey is also made up mainly of sugar, but only 30% glucose and more than 40% fructose. It contains other sugars and trace elements. These can be useful for people with allergies. Honey has a lower glycemic index than cane sugar, but has more calories. 1 tablespoon of honey has 68 calories, while 1 tablespoon of sugar contains only 49 calories. The effects of honey on blood sugar levels are usually more positive than sugar. According to one study, 75 grams of honey increases blood sugar and insulin levels in the first 2 hours. However, also with 75 grams of sugar can raise blood sugar levels very high. The effect of honey is similar in people with type 2 diabetes. The eighth, biscuits and packaged snacks. Crackers and other packaged foods are not good choices in snack foods. They are usually made with refined flour and are low in nutrients, which can quickly raise blood sugar levels. In fact, some of these foods may contain more carbohydrates than are listed on the nutrition label. One study found that junk food provided an average of 7.7% more carbohydrates than the label. The ninth, processed grains. Even processed cereals for a healthy breakfast are not a good choice for people with diabetes. For example, just half a cereal, 55 grams, granola cereal contains 30 grams of digestible carbs, and grape seeds contain 41 grams. What's more, each provides only 7 grams of protein per serving. People with diabetes should try to replace processed grains with whole grains. Refined grains such as white flour have been stripped of the bran and soft starch, while whole grains like oatmeal, brown rice, barley and whole grain bread still retain these bran. Above are 9 foods to avoid when diabetics have high blood sugar. Taking medication in moderation and maintaining a healthy diet is the best preventative measure to take. In addition, patients who combine the right exercise and sports will make the disease heal faster.